We all heard the devastating news the day Kobe Bryant and his 13-year-old daughter were killed in a helicopter crash. But what's happened since? What caused the crash? And why was Vanessa Bryant awarded $15 million by Los Angeles County? In this video, we'll discuss what ultimately led her to file the lawsuit, how the jury came to its decision, and what really caused the helicopter crash that claimed the life of the legend. But first, let's go back and take a look at what actually happened on that fateful day. On January 26, 2020, the whole world was in shock as news outlets announced Kobe Bryant was involved in a helicopter crash that took his life and the lives of 8 others. It became even more devastating when we learned his 13-year-old daughter Gianna, who they called Gigi, was one of the 8 others killed in the crash. We read headline after headline and post after post that he had died, but no one wanted to believe it. It didn't matter whether you were a basketball fan or not, the sadness of the fatal accident that killed Kobe and his daughter was felt around the world. People were left in utter disbelief. The pair were together on the helicopter with other parents and children on their way to a youth basketball tournament where Gigi was scheduled to compete with her team. She loved the sport just like her father did. He was coaching her team, and she had dreams of carrying on the family's basketball legacy and playing in the WNBA. But sadly, they never made it to the game, and unfortunately, we'll never get to see her carry on the family's basketball legacy. One witness of the helicopter crash said, "We heard the helicopter flying normally, but couldn't really see it because it was extremely foggy and low clouds. I was thinking to myself of why a helicopter would be flying so low in very bad weather conditions. Then all of a sudden, we heard a large boom." Another witness told The Times he had been standing outside when he heard a helicopter flying unusually low and struggling. "It didn't sound right, and it was really low. I saw it falling and sputtering, but it was hard to make out as it was so foggy. The helicopter disappeared from his sight, and then he heard a big boom. He said there was a big fireball. No one could survive that." According to CNN, TMZ was the first news outlet to report the crash. 6 minutes after they reported the news, a family assistant told Vanessa there was an accident and that there were 5 survivors in the crash. She had desperately hoped her husband and daughter were 2 of the 5, and as she frantically tried calling her husband back, numerous notifications started popping up on her phone that said, "R.I.P. Kobe." Authorities refused to provide Vanessa Bryant with any additional information over the phone and instructed her to travel to the sheriff's station nearest the crash site, which was in Malibu, about 1.5 hours away from where they lived. She attempted to secure a helicopter to fly to the crash site, but due to the unsafe weather conditions that day, she was denied. Eventually, Kobe's former agent, Rob Pelinka, drove her and their daughter Natalia to the sheriff's station in Malibu where Kobe and Gianna's deaths were confirmed. Vanessa was fearful that fans, drones, or helicopters would take pictures of her husband and daughter, so when the sheriff asked if there was anything he could do for her, she remembered saying, "If you can't bring my husband and baby back, please make sure no one takes photographs of them. Please secure the area." When she insisted he get on the phone to make sure the area was secured, he excused himself and came back and said, "All is good. The area is secure. There's an umbrella over the area." However, it was discovered that first responders not only took graphic photos of the crash site and the remains of the crash victims, but they also shared the photos with others. Rafael Mendez Jr., a local resident, lodged a citizen complaint with the sheriff's department after hearing a bartender describe being shown gruesome cell phone pictures of Kobe's remains by an off-duty deputy who had been on the scene of the crash. And Luella Wyrider, who lost her cousin and a relative's husband in the crash, attended an awards ceremony where she was invited by the fire captain's wife to look at photos of Kobe's corpse on the fire captain's phone. While at the event, she also overheard another fire official say he just looked at Kobe's burnt-up body and I'm about to eat. She was the second private citizen to file a complaint with the county. This led to Vanessa filing a lawsuit against Los Angeles County seeking damages for negligence, invasion of privacy, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. In their response to the complaint that was initially filed back in May of 2020, the county's attorneys argued that the pictures were not distributed to the media and were not put on the internet. In her deposition, Vanessa was asked to explain what emotional distress meant to her and to specifically recall whether she had seen any of the gruesome photos taken after the collision. Their argument was that she couldn't be suffering from emotional distress because the photos were never publicly shared, and she hadn't even seen the photos. Vanessa explained, Emotional distress means that not only do I have to grieve the loss of my husband and child, but for the rest of my life I'm going to have to fear that these photographs of my husband and child will be leaked. I do not want my little girls or I to ever have to see their remains in that matter. Nor do I think it's right that the photographs were taken in the first place, because it's already tough enough that I have to experience this heartache and this loss, but now to live the rest of my life having to fear those photographs surfacing is something that I have to deal with every single day. Later on in the deposition, when asked what recovery she was seeking from the lawsuit, Vanessa responded, "I want accountability, because no one should ever have to endure this type of pain and fear of their family members. The picture's getting released. This is not okay. I just don't understand how someone can have no regard for life and compassion and instead choose to take that opportunity to photograph lifeless and helpless individuals for their own sick amusement." Over the 11 days of the trial, the jury heard testimony that was both emotional and graphic. Witnesses included a deputy who testified to snapping 25 pictures of the crash site, a third of which contained close-up images of body parts, and then sending them to others. One testified to sharing photos from the scene with 2 people while at a bar. Another deputy testified he did the same while playing a video game. Another deputy airdropped photos from the scene to a county fire supervisor who was still unidentified. And a fire captain who also took photos of the crash site was found to have turned in a department device lacking its hard drive, while someone else testified the fire captain showed photos of Kobe's corpse on his phone to other employees during the cocktail hour at an awards gala. After 4.5 hours of deliberations, the jury found LA County Sheriff's Department and Fire Department responsible for violating Bryant and her co-plaintiffs' constitutional rights by taking and disseminating graphic images of the crash site victims' remains. The federal jury concluded that the absence of sufficient procedures and training in their departments led to the violation of their rights. Based on images of the crash site obtained by deputy sheriffs and firefighters of LA County in the moments following the collision, the jury decided she has suffered and will continue to suffer severe emotional distress. The verdict came a day after what would have been Kobe Bryant's birthday, and it happened on Mamba Day in LA, which is a day that celebrates his life on August 24th, 824, the 2 numbers he wore during his 20-year career with the Lakers. The federal jury initially awarded Vanessa Bryant and her co-plaintiff, Chris Chester, $31 million in damages. Chester lost his spouse, Sarah, and daughter, Peyton, in the crash. Bryant was awarded $16 million, while Chester received $15 million. However, a few days later, it was noted the jurors' intent was that they'd each be awarded an equal $15 million, and Vanessa agreed to the change. She plans to donate the $15 million to the Mamba and Mambacita Sports Foundation, which is dedicated to creating a positive impact for underserved athletes and boys and girls in sports. Shortly after the verdict was read, Vanessa posted a picture of herself with Kobe and their daughter Gianna with the caption, "All for you. I love you. Justice for Kobe and Gigi." We can't even imagine how much she misses them. Since the crash, the National Transportation Safety Board has finalized a year-long investigation and determined the most significant reason for the crash was a pilot error. They determined the helicopter was mechanically sound and its engines and controls were working normally when it crashed. They concluded the helicopter pilot, Ara Zabayan, became disoriented after flying into low clouds over Highway 101 in Calabasas, and mistakenly flew the helicopter into the hillside while trying to climb above the clouds. He made a poor decision to fly at excessive airspeed into an area with poor visibility, and ended up losing the ability to control the helicopter after losing visual contact with the ground. The pilot may have had what the safety board calls self-induced pressure to complete the flight despite poor weather conditions and bad visibility because he wanted to satisfy his star client, Kobe Bryant. I think it's safe to say we all wish they hadn't boarded that helicopter that morning. No matter what people say, Kobe will always be an NBA legend and will be remembered and missed by fans and celebrities alike. Right after news broke of the fatal crash, Taylor Swift tweeted, "My heart is in pieces hearing the news of this unimaginable tragedy. I can't fathom what the families are going through. Kobe meant so much to me and to us all. Sending my prayers, love, and endless condolences to Vanessa and the family and anyone who lost someone on that flight." Jimmy Kimmel tweeted, "He was great, charismatic, and among the hardest working athletes ever. But what impressed me most was how deeply involved Kobe was with his 4 daughters. Pray for them, Vanessa, his parents, and his fellow passengers' families on this sad and shocking day. We will never forget you, Kobe." And Jamie Foxx posted a sweet picture of Kobe with his wife and 3 daughters and wrote, "Just can't take this one. Sending up prayers to your beautiful family. This hurt is for a lifetime." At Kobe Bryant, you will be missed for eternity. Rest in power. The lives that were lost that day is another reminder that we should never take life for granted. We hope you hug your loved ones tighter tonight and make every day count. Do you have a favorite memory of Kobe? We want to hear them. Let us know by leaving a comment below. And if you liked this video, you can extend your support by subscribing to our channel and turning on that notification bell. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.